So Israel has gotten bombed by Iran. This is the inevitable. We were all expecting that this would happen. The question was not if, the question was when. And it's happening. The inevitable is taking place right before our eyes. People have been predicting this for years, that there would be a war between Iran and Israel. And for so many years, the Iranians have been talking about destroying Israel. And so that sentiment, that anti-Israel, that desire to destroy Israel has been very strong in the heart of Iran for a very long time. And so here we are. The inevitable is occurring. And we're so used to hearing about Israel bombing Gaza. But now we're hearing about Israel getting bombed by another country. Gaza is not really a country. I know that Hamas has hit Israel with rockets, but Hamas does not have the sophistication that Iran has, and Hamas is a terrorist organization, and Gaza really is not a country. Iran is a country with a substantial military force. It has the capacity to seriously advance its military in innovation. And Iran also has superior manpower. The manpower of Iran is superior to that of Israel. If Israel has to, Israel can amass an army of close to 4 million soldiers. If Iran has to, the Iranians can amass a military force of literally tens of millions of soldiers. We're talking over 30 million or so soldiers. We're talking at the level of Operation Barbarossa. World War II, you had tens of millions of Russians fighting against the Germans. And Israel does not have the capacity to deal with such a high number of soldiers. And right now, Israel cannot afford to fight a war on multiple fronts. Right now, it's dealing with Hamas, and that's been difficult enough. And it's entailed a tremendous amount of destruction. But if Israel goes into a war with Iran, it would devastate Israel. It would utterly devastate Israel. And who else wants to destroy Israel? Who else wants to have a war with Israel? It's the Turks. And the Turks will, I believe, eventually make an alliance with Iran. And if you have an Iranian-Turkish alliance against Israel, Israel cannot stand a chance. Israel would lose that war. It wouldn't win, because Israel does not have the capacity to deal with two regional superpowers. And so here we are. We are watching just another step towards the inevitable, which is, sadly, I must say, the end of Israel. I've talked about this for years. I've asked the question, can another Holocaust ever occur? And I believe that another Holocaust will occur. I believe that another Holocaust is inevitable. I'm not praising it. I am not saying that it's glorious. I'm not glorifying violence or genocide at all. I'm not saying that Israel deserves it. What I am saying is that it's inevitable. I'm speaking strictly as an observer. If you look at history, the Jewish people's history is riddled with pogroms and genocide. And what the future holds is simply the rhyming of history. The rhyming of history. And so we're seeing it, everyone. We're seeing it, and there's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing we can do about it. The train has been set. And the Bible tells us that 2/3 of Israel will be destroyed. Well, it's etched in destiny. There's nothing that we can do about it. And just as in the past you had the Holocaust, you're going to have another Holocaust. I'm saddened to say it, but it's the reality. There's going to be another Holocaust, and the world will stand and watch, and much of the world will praise it. Much of the world is going to praise it. Much of the world is going to say Allahu Akbar, Alhamdulillah, or they're going to say down with the Jews, because the Jews own the banks and they own all the money, and so their time is nigh, and they're going to get what they deserve, etc. Or they're going to get what they deserve, etc., etc. People are already talking this way, and it's only going to get worse. The world is turning. The world is turning against Israel. The world is turning against the Jews, and more people hate the Jews. Back in the 1990s, back in the early 2000s, back in the 2010s, it was rare to meet people who hated Jews. And now you're seeing it all over the place, all over the internet, all over society. It's not just the universities. It's all over society. And it's becoming more and more acceptable. It's becoming more and more accepted to hate Jews. And people will use Israel's bombing of Gaza to justify Nazism and anti-Jewish sentiment. And so it's not just the Islamic world that's going to turn against Israel, but other countries as well will turn against Israel in the sense that they're going to say Israel deserves it and we shouldn't help Israel. And also you have a bunch of people in the United States who are going to say, we're not going to go to war for Israel. No American should ever die for Israel. I'm simply speaking as an observer here. This is what's going to happen. It's the inevitable. It's the inevitable. People are going to say things like that. They're already saying things like this. No American should die for Israel. No American soldiers, no boots on the ground for Israel. And so you're going to have another Holocaust. Much of the world is going to watch. Much of the world is going to praise the slaughter. And Israel will be left alone to a great extent. Israel will be left alone as the next Holocaust takes place. And yeah, so we're seeing another step towards the inevitable, which is the end of Israel. Anyway.